Hi everybody, welcome back to the backyard, and here I've got, I'll call him Fisherman Bob. Carved him out of some wood a couple summers ago, and I think he'd be a good target for us to take on as a challenge today. I've got a nice sintered block here, and let's jump right into it. If you look at the profile of that hat, we need a peak, don't we? And I'm only going to use a robust plastic knife. Let's get right into it. Let's try and match that. I'm going to carve from the back here so you can see. I'm going right to a point, aren't I? So let's use that knife to angle that off. I'll spin it once so I can get the other side without blocking your view. I guess I could use a big saw, but I want to just use this plastic knife because that's what many of you will be using. And I've got kind of a point. So I'm just working on the back side right now. I'm only worried about one angle. The view from the back, and I guess that is quite a point up top, isn't it? And I could hold it back here to see if my angles are about right. Normally I'd be standing back 10 feet from the front. That's what I'm always telling you to do, but I think that's pretty well got it. But while I'm here, I will stand back, hopefully you can see me there, just to look at roughly where those lines should be for the hat, because that'll be pretty key to get the proportions right. And my bottom of my coat goes around here. So let's transfer some of those lines at the front here. So here's my front, and my hat goes kind of up and then down, doesn't it? But obviously, if you look at the side now, that can be the next target for my chops, my early chops, and I'm thinking about like this. Cut that off. I'm putting all that snow right where I sit, so that'll make it for fun later. So let's take off the front. I guess I didn't really need to put that line on the front until I had this profile done. And that does come to a point, doesn't it? So, clearly I gotta go longer. I've gotta come down right to here. Man, getting that early proportions is really important. So there's the back side. Now on the front, I'll turn it around. The front is much higher, isn't it? And I've already drawn that line there, so I kind of have two reference points. It should be a point. So I'll stand back and see if I can get that angle about right. Angle out a little more. Every hat will be different. Alright, I think I'm getting close, but it's not just, I've got some square points here. It's rounded, isn't it? So let's take off those points. Okay, take off that one. Yeah, it's starting to look like something now. I'll take off this front point. And this point here. Turn it so you can see. So really, I think I've just made a big cone here. Lopsided cone though, because it's longer on the back than it is on the front. So far, this is a pretty easy carve. Now, with the chip carving, or the carving, there's little cuts all over it, but I have this idea that I can try and make this one rounded, so just smooth it with my hand. Alright, let's see what we got now. So, we need a nose in here, so we're going to cut that. I got to get right up front here. Flip that seat over. There, I think you can still see. All right, quite a big nose. So I'm gonna cut in fairly deep, about that far, and then get going on that nose, which will come around like this. Yeah, it's a sphere, so I gotta get right in there. Ooh, careful. And I gotta come around the bottom to clean out that material. I'm gonna be into the beard pretty quick though, aren't I? And this goes deep here, doesn't it? This goes way deep in there. So let's get that done. There we go. And all the way around the back. Might as well do it. I'll make sure that's deep enough. And where am I coming this side? This rotisserie is really, hopefully it's good for you. It makes it easy for me. Okay, here we go. Around this side. Cut in right there. I'm going to come around that nose like this. Don't want to go too far, but I got to get that nose defined. Okay. go. There, that looks good. And I'll take all this off. Now I'm holding that top with my hand quite a bit. The heat from my hand may turn that to ice. Gotta watch that. Gotta watch that. This is really sintered. It's a little bit, it's almost icy, but it's still fairly consistent. And now let's see if we can define a beard. So the beard is going to come fairly close to that nose. It's going to come down and over, I think a little higher, and then down this side. There's my beard. So everything comes into that point. So I'm going to carve around there like this. There we go. And we have to decide what kind of face we're going to give him. You know what? I'll stick with the frown. Maybe he's had a bad catch. And he's not too happy. Well, hopefully it'll turn to a smile. So let's put that in just so we can. That'll help the character grow a little bit for us. And I'm going to come in on the 45. I'm going to keep it a fairly minimal frown. Using this plastic knife. Yeah, okay. Round that nose off a little more. Come in like that. And it's a beard, so maybe I'll put some lines on it. I'm not sure how I'll treat the beard in the end. I almost said nose there because I started working on the nose. Polish the nose. Okay, let's get busy. Now, we have this coat coming around, and I had made a line. Does the coat line still look good? I think that's my line. And that's going to go way in under that. All the way around, it's almost uniform. So around we go. I'm going in a good inch. And now I'm going to take a bunch of material off. I'm focusing on the big cuts right now because that'll help the shape pop. And allow us to see what's going on. I'll have to figure out those feet later. Okay, how are we doing? Now, notice this angle comes way in here for the shoulder. And that makes sense. So I'm going to really dig that in. And I'm going to come in. So we're kind of got a shoulder going on here. And that's going to be an arm coming down. So I don't want to take too much off there. And the same here. Got to take that way in. That's nice out here. I've lost the sun right now, but it's not too cold. I think it's about -7 right now, so I can live with that. I got my long johns on. Okay, so that does go in behind the beard there. Once you dress properly, things are a lot better. Okay, now it's time for a bit of the coat. I'm going to turn it to myself just to get that coat right. I'm not going to go as severe as that notch there. So there, that's enough, I think. Could I drill a buttonhole? Give him a couple buttonholes. That's not in the original, but don't know if I like that or not. Okay, the tricky part of this carve is going to be those arms. So let's go sideways. Basically, I'm coming down and across the front and the back of it. I've got a shoulder here, sort of, but it comes down and then the quick turn for the elbow, and then it carves into that point because obviously the arms are farther out than the coat. Take some off there. Yeah, the back really comes in a bit, doesn't it? So I'll take that up. No need to have a gigantic back there. But let's stick with that arm. Jumping all over here. The arm is going to come in, and then it has the end of the sleeve, just like my coat, it drops into the wrist. So whatever I've got here on my coat, that's got to be the furthest point. Carve it from the bottom of the beard into that arm. And this arm does not go right up into the hat. It should stop about here, so I'll just smooth that off. There's definitely a chunk. Oh my goodness, I've never seen a chunk. It's like almost like a chunk of glass there. What the heck? I'm gonna have to check that later because that looked like a pretty clear piece of ice. Okay, back to our program. There we go. So let's define this arm. Down we come. There's the edge. And then there's a pocket right there. And then it bleeds back into the lower arm. And there's his hand going into the pocket. There. 2 little digs there, I think. We'll define the sides of the hands. And a little polish with the glove might help. So now that we're going to do the other side, this is where the proportions are really important. Now, did you see the arrow I just made? I chopped off this, and that should be bulbous for where the hand would push out the coat. So I'll sinter on some snow. These things happen. I'll hold it only 10 seconds. It's a little warmer today, and I'll leave it to sinter, and I'll come back. Meanwhile, I've got to get the other side right. So I'm going to switch it over, and I've got an arm coming down. I'm going to look at what I've already got here. I've got an arm coming down and then into there. I'm spinning it wildly here. It'll be a little trickier for you, I guess. And there's my arm coming down. I hope I get close. There's the edge. There's where the hand drops. Leave that puffy. You know what? Might as well put some on there right now, just as insurance. I'll put a little on there in case I need a little more puff for where the hand goes into the coat, and it might push out the coat like this. All right. Now we'll carve this out because that's. Oh, let's study it. I'm going to put that guy down for a minute. The top of the arm goes into the shoulder. Funniest looking shoulder I ever saw. Carve out this material, the snow. Try not to call it material, it's snow. Carve that out, and this, I gotta let that sinter. So there's the arm, the bottom of the arm. I'll carve up into the bottom of the arm. Take off the back a little bit. Smooth that, which will make it look more like an arm. Dig in here a little more to make that arm accentuated. Use my finger. How's that look? Am I okay? Oh, I could be a little thicker, didn't I? A little thicker on the back end. Man, I'm doing a lot of patching today. Is this becoming patch day on the snowbank? Are you having fun yet? Okay. Let's continue. Sometimes you gotta take a little break. I'm gonna let all these arms, you know what, that one too. Now that we're into this patch mode, it's good for you to see that I've got a patch as well. You probably had to patch something by now. I've not held that on there very long. But we'll let it sinter, and I'll work on the back side. Obviously, we've got a line right down the middle. I'll cut out that V for the boots. And it cuts quite a ways in. So I'll cut that first and then in. Cut that up, that in. The boots are square across the back. So boom, there's the back of the boot. The boot. And the boots do go to the edge, so careful there, Morris. I may bring them in slightly. I have this idea that will look good. And then they swoop in. So I'm going to really cut this to bring that in. How's that look? Hopefully that's looking okay. Same on the left. I'm going to spin it so I can cut more easily. It'll allow me to go quicker as well. So now I'm on the front. On the front, big swoop in, and there's some danger involved there. But we also have the V for the boot. And so now I'm going to go in without the whole thing. Hopefully the whole thing doesn't just fall off. I think we're okay. Let's get rid of all this snow. Okay, around that toe a little bit. You know, you could look at your own boot. Yeah. And try and model your own boot. More of a V to define the separation of the two legs. And you could have all kinds of fun with this. This one has a bit of a heel, so I don't know if I'm going to do a heel. I could do a little heel. That's not working. That's not really working. But let's at least even these up a little bit. Stand back 10 feet. Does my left equal my right? Smooth that off. Okay, we're into the arms. Which one did I do first? I did this one here first. Let's get this front of this coat going. And there's a bulge where the hand goes into the coat, right? So, but there's still, I'd like to define the edge of the sleeve because that will help to give it some angles that pop. There we go. And I'll take it right in here. I'll dig it in there. There we go. It's getting a little thin. You might want to thicken that up a little bit. So I'm going to go wider on the arm, which sends it back a bit, I guess. Oh, there's another chunk of that ice. Oh my goodness. Let's dig that out to see what it is. It's gotta be ice. I can't believe I'm doing this. Right in the middle of a big carve. Like, do you see the massive piece of ice in there? Why would there be ice in that bucket? I want to make sure it's not glass, so let's take a look. Yeah, that's a piece of ice. I'm not sure where that came from. Okay, we got ourselves a patch job now. I guess patching became the theme. I may have to put that into the title. Hold it on there a little longer because this hole's a little bigger. And up. We'll come back to that one later. Okay, where are we? We had done the left pocket of that coat. Now for the right. I'm going to try and get it fairly similar. And get that sleeve going again at roughly the same spot. There's the edge. The coat blends in with the rest of the coat. Just the bulky, the bulbous part where the hand is pushing that coat out a little bit. A little bit of polishing with my hand. Okay, he's looking more unhappy at the moment, isn't he? I don't know about that. He's got a pointy nose too. Let's round that off. As usual, the closer you get to finish, the more you see opportunities for improvement. All these little things. Even up top there. That is definitely starting to ice up top. Okay, let's get the left arm going. I'm going to go right about like this. Take all that off. There we go. Smooth. Oh, yeah, it's smoothing, but it's fragile because I'm just sintering it now. So just leave that a little bit. What do we got? Look at this. You probably saw that. This is where I was making it wider, wasn't it? So this side is centered enough for our purposes, but I won't push out again. That'll break it off. I'll push in. If I broke off, it would just break off into nothingness. I push this way, it pushes into the beef of the remaining sculpture that's available to us. Little hole there. We're going to ignore it for now. Another chunk of ice there. I have no idea where all this ice is coming from. Very disturbing. Okay, how's our little man? Now, were we calling this guy Fisherman Bob? Maybe you'll have another name. If you have name suggestions for this guy, why don't you put them in the comments? And I've never asked for a like, but if you like it, you should like things. If you don't like them, don't like it, because the purpose of liking will help future viewers know which videos are good. Okay, enough promotion there. Let's get a little more left to right here. Equal. Maybe if I undercut that beard a little bit, that would give it a nice little definition. Okay, I'm going to stand back. I almost want to give him eyes right up in there. But that's not what the carving is all about, is it? Let's compare. Does that even focus for you? Okay, I definitely think, I think this demo is enough that you can see where you would go with something like that. So let's review the big picture here. Cone on top, and the top is here, the bottom is there. Notice the difference. So it's a swoop up as I slice his shoulder. Sorry about that, Fisherman Bob. Typical nose, just like a gnome, and some of you have no doubt made gnomes. The hat's a lot shorter, but hey, you can make this hat as high as you want. And a nice easy carve down the middle, separating the feet. Decide yourself what you want to do with these boots. The beard, you could put different looks on the face. Little definition at the end of the sleeve, getting the proportions right for the arms. But I think that's doable. What do you think? Would you give that a try? Let me know what you think his name should be. Have a great time in the bank. Hopefully snow comes for you and you can have fun with non-packing snow. Pound it in, let it sinter, and get out there and have fun. See you next time. All right, let's give him a smile. That is not much of a sinter. Oh, this is ridiculous. Because this is not sintered at all. It's a good example of what happens when you try and do something without letting the snow sinter. Even blowing it will mess things up. I'll try and carve into the harder part, but this is pretty ridiculous. Okay, Bob just caught some fish. Now he's a happier man. Yes. I'll go deep, which will help define it. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Unhappy Fisherman Bob, happy Fisherman Bob. See ya.